Hey, what is up, guys? Bluntcuts here. This is a Watcher of Realms video. Thanks so much for tuning into my channel. I really appreciate it. I want to talk to you about the banners that are coming this weekend, and you might have missed it because we have an update that is going to be deploying tomorrow, which is Thursday, December 9th. We don't actually have them on the calendar right now, and that kind of threw me too, but they are in this update announcement right here, and you can see, maybe you can see, maybe you can't, in this kind of truncated banner that's above me. We've got Silas, we've got Edith on the banner. You got a good hero. You got kind of a, I won't call her a bad hero. She's got a use. You know, she's very good in Gear Dungeon 2. She does that knockback thing. I think, from what I know, that what's her name? Callista, the free legendary that we did get during the Christmas events, that she can fill the same role. So I don't think that this is necessarily a must pull if you don't have a knockback. I also do know for a fact that there are a lot of guides out there for Gear Dungeon 2. So if you don't have Edith, that is not a limiting factor that's going to stop you from being able to clear it. The only thing I'm going to say about Edith is that, you know, if you are unable to clear Gear Dungeon 210 and you think that she is the missing piece, she's the only thing that is preventing you from clearing that, then I could see pulling. But just like I'm going to tell you with Silas, I think there's some big things on the horizon, so I would just be cautious about how much you spend on these banners. What we are going to have is an Invocation of Spirits as well as a Divine Summoning with a 15x rate up for both of these heroes. As you can see, the epic heroes are going to be Nassault, Vortex, and Theowen. All three are really useful heroes, but at this point in the game, if you've been playing for a while, these are all heroes that you likely have on your account already, that you likely already have A5. Even if you haven't been playing all that long, I would never recommend that you pull specifically for epic heroes on a banner. It's just not worth it. You're going to get them eventually anyway, with very few exceptions. I mean, maybe if you didn't have a Laurel and Laurel was on this banner, I could see that potentially, or like a Hollow or something like that, but that is not the case right here. These are all heroes that you are going to see over and over again as you summon, so I would not recommend that you pull for them. But Silas is really the front man on this banner. He's the one that you have to make a decision about. So let's go over to his character page. Let's talk a little bit more about him. All right, there he is, the OG best hero in the game. He has certainly fallen off in recent months. And while I love Silas, and I do think that he is kind of a key cog, somebody that you really do want to have on your account, I don't know that he is somebody that you necessarily need on your account anymore. There was a point, probably about 6 months to a year ago, where he was unquestionably the best damage dealer in the game. He ignored all defense. He is a fantastic progression hero. He allows you to clear things that your account level should not allow you to clear. So if you don't have him, period, then I think there's a case to be made for pulling for him, especially if you are a younger or mid-game account. He's great. And at one point, he was one of the more common heroes in the game. He was in the common bucket. That is not the case anymore, so he is hard to come by. In my year and a half almost of playing this game, I have only ever pulled one copy of him. Only one copy of him. His awakenings are good. They're not essential, though. What is essential, though, is having Vierna. It is this bond skill right here, Lost Love. Obtain hero Vierna, the Wraith Queen, to unlock the following bonus effect. During the effect of Shadow Cloak, Soul Sniping deals 100% extra damage. Basically, this means that Soul Sniping hits twice, and it's incredible. It is massive. When you combine this with the fact that he ignores defense, it's just, he is one of the best burst damage heroes in the game by far, and he is so versatile because he can be used in some, really, it doesn't matter what content you're going against. He is going to be effective against it for the most part, at least as far as a burst damage hero. The problem is you don't always need a burst damage hero, and he is certainly outpaced as far as overall damage by many heroes in the game at this point. So while at one point he was phenomenal, he is still really good, but I think his use is just a little bit more niche than it used to be. So I would pull with caution. We've got Beelzebub on the horizon. We do know that the event for his artifact is coming in about a week and a half. That likely means that the following weekend is going to be his banner. And so I would just, you want to be able to get at least a copy of him. Honestly, in an ideal world, you'd love to be able to get 4 copies of him, because his A3 is like out of this world. But I think that's probably a tall order considering what we all just dropped on Wukong. And given the way that the Wukong banner turned out, I am not going to recommend to anybody that you pull heavily on any of these banners, because clearly they have set up a system where pulling heavily does not guarantee you anything at this point. I mean, it never did, but the odds of getting the hero that you want, I have no faith in them anymore. So I think you want to try to get one copy of Beelzebub, but beyond that, I don't know. You could try to get a copy of Silas, but it's the same kind of deal, right? How do we trust these 15x rate ups? What I will say is that if you do have a base copy of him, I don't think you need any more than that. I don't think that he's relevant in enough content right now that you really need to worry about getting Awakenings on him when he is probably about 90% of the hero that he is with Awakenings at A0. So I will go through them real quick. I'm going to give you some insight into them, but again, I don't think that these are things that you necessarily need to pull for. I think the only reason that you should be pulling on this banner is if you don't have a copy of him, period. So with that said, let's go through these Awakenings. The A1 increases attack speed by 100 when Shadow Cloak is in effect. Shadow Cloak is his ultimate, so you're going to get an extra 100 speed, which is... It's nice. It's nice that it's on the A1 because I don't think it's game breaking by any means, and it does give him a legit. All of his damage does come in the ultimate, so that is the time when you would want that extra speed. It's nice. It's not great. It's not game breaking. It's not going to really change his functionality all that much. The A2 is 300 attack, which is for marksman very significant. So this is going to help you out a lot. But again, not really worth trying to pull 2 extra copies of him to get, in my opinion. And then the A3, when there are more than 2 marksmen on the field, increases damage of the hero and 1 random allied marksman by 15%. This is actually really, really big. And the reason being not really because of him, although it helps him obviously as well, but there are some Hex in particular, phenomenal single target damage dealing marksman in the game. And he is... one way that you can really bump that damage up. I'd almost call it like a utility awakening. So, again, I don't think it's worth pulling for specifically, but when you get it, it is very nice. The A4 is Rage Regen Attack plus 2. This is nice. It's actually a pretty solid GVG awakening because his fatal flaw in GVG is that he is very baitable. He's really only potent during the ultimate, and outside the ultimate, he doesn't really do all that much damage because he doesn't ignore armor consistently and all that kind of stuff. But this basically gets him back to that ultimate state quicker. It makes it harder for people to bait you and get the demon soldiers past him in between ultimates. So it's nice. It's not like a broken record, but again, I don't think it's worth pulling for. And the A5, the Mark of Eye of Curse will increase physical damage to the target by 15%. This is really, really good. It's solid. It'd be nice if you didn't have to pull 6 total copies of him to get it, but it is really, really good. So this basically gives you a 15% physical damage increase on his target when it has this Eye of Curse on it for everybody. This is not just him. This is not a 15% damage boost for him. This is a 15% physical damage boost that the target takes. So this means that any other physical damage dealer that you do have on your team is going to get a 15% damage buff when the Eye of Curse debuff is on the target. So really good, really good. Again, worth pulling for? I don't think so with things that we have coming down the pipe. And even with this incredible skill at A5, there's not a lot of situations where people are really bringing in Silas these days. I'm trying to think of competitive areas of the game where he is particularly relevant right now. I would say that the Lord of Styx, very relevant. He's a really, really good hero in Lord of Styx, somebody that you could definitely get on leaderboards for as far as that's concerned. Wasteland Titan, recently, I'd say 1 or 2 rotations ago, somebody did figure out, and a bunch of people copied him, that if you added him alongside 5 healers, that he was a really compelling option for Wasteland Titan. Furious Torrent, I honestly don't know a whole lot about. I use him there, but it's because I don't have enough AoE marksmen. So I don't know if he's somebody that you necessarily would be using if you had better options. I think he's on there, but I am not honestly sure. So I don't want to give you bad advice and tell you that I know when I don't really know. So I mean, I think you certainly can use him there. Whether or not he's meta, I couldn't really tell you. So that covers the codexes. If we're looking at gear raids and gear dungeons, he's not particularly relevant in Gear Dungeon 1 or Gear Dungeon 2. You can use him in Gear Dungeon 2, but he's not the best at it. He's not somebody you need. There are better options, and so I wouldn't necessarily pull specifically for that. Gear raid 1 through 3. At this point in the game, these dungeons are not really the things that I would be using to kind of decide where I was going to spend my summons, as valuable as they are. Again, if you are still progressing through some of this content, then he is very relevant. He's going to help push your account, but I just don't know long term if this is necessarily going to be the best investment for you. He's really good, and again, he may be really good at future content that is yet to be released. You could use him in GB2. That is certainly an option. He's decent there. He's not the best. I think that we've been fed a lot of heroes recently that are phenomenal in Guild Boss 2. I think you probably don't have room for him, but you could certainly use him to hit 120k if you so desired. Guild Boss 1, again, not the most relevant content. We are getting a Nightmare 5 at some point in the future, although that sounds like it is going to be closer to Guild Boss 2 as far as the types of teams that you're going to want to bring into it. So I don't know that he is going to necessarily be as great in Nightmare 5 as he is in all of the previous difficulties, but he is phenomenal in Nightmare 4 and below. So if you're trying to hit 50k, it might be something that might help you out there. You know, I think the problem really with him ultimately is just that we have so many other options at this point that I don't think that there's any piece of content in the game where you really need him. Aside from those codexes that I mentioned, there is no competitive area in the game where he is 100% necessary. I guess if you're trying to run an anti-air arena comp with a Piercer Lord like an Aracha or an Eovar, he is a very important piece of that comp, but he is also not irreplaceable at this point either. So I don't know. You know, I don't want to knock a great hero, but I also just want to recognize the fact that he is not as relevant as he used to be. And I think that that should be something that you take into account before you go and spend a bunch of resources right before some really exciting new heroes are coming into the game. Not to mention, we're likely going to have a big event during Valentine's Day, because we did last year as well, whether that's Lust Arrogance or somebody new. So, you know, you guys make your own decisions. You know, I don't think it's a bad idea to pull for him, but I do think that it is important to be aware of what you're getting if you do pull him, right? So my advice to you, get a copy. Don't pull any further than that if you so choose. If you don't want to pull for him because you're more excited about the heroes that are yet to come, I think that is a great option as well. And that's certainly, I am going to be waiting for Beelzebub. I've got like 50 plus divine summons. I'm stacking up as many rares as I can. I'm going to take a shot at him and hopefully I get lucky. But in any case, guys, I do appreciate you all tuning in. Hopefully this was helpful to you. You know, just my opinion. Welcome to disagree with it. There's no wrong way to spend your summons at the end of the day. So if you want to go for them, go for them. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I will catch you all next time.